Shalom, the praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Harakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Ghost as well. And shalom to the brothers and the wives of sincerity and truth, which is word to the four corners, the hopeful elect. Just have a little lesson I put together. More or less going to be that prophets were never really at ease at any point, when they're about their ministry. And that's something that, you have from the first prophet, well, seers it was called, with Samuel, and then going on down. So whenever the Lord sent prophets out, there was controversy, there was contention, and they were making their foreheads hard against mainly Israel's foreheads. Israel was being, the brick-headed, Negroes they love to be. But yeah, I'll start with this. 1 Samuel 16, 2, and it says, "And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord Yahweh said, take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord Yahweh. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord Yahweh spoke. He came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably?" So yeah, with Samuel, when he was on the scene, they were asking like, yo, what? Comest thou peaceably? Because why? When Samuel was going about, and he was going about what? The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's business. So when he was going about his business, then what? People were moving with what? Fear. They were feeling, terror, because they were worried. They're like, yo, it's come to prophesy against this place. And that's really the spirit the prophets have been in, which, has people on edge, has people not ease. As far as it's like when we're prophesying, when we're saying what this society is gonna, be taken down, it says, and people aren't really taking that message with just like, oh well, they're kind of just like, why would you say that? They're feeling a bit, or they might find it incredulous and laugh. But that's nothing new. This is been how the prophets have been treated. So I go to Judges, because Gideon's also a good example. So Judges 6 and Judges 6 and 13, it says, "And Gideon said unto it, O my Lord, if the Lord Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all these miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, did not the Lord Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord Yahweh hath forsaken us, and delivered us into the hand of the Midianites. And the Lord Yahweh..." Oh, what? It's too heavy.
No. Oh, it's too heavy.
Yeah. Back at verse 14. "And the Lord Yahweh looked upon him and said, Go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? And he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me." Okay, let me skip down to him having the sign shown. So it says, okay. So go down to verse 25, after you have the sign shown. So it says what? "And it came to pass the same night that the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cast down the grove that is by it. So he's taking actions that are what? Controversial. Because right then, you go into the time, all Israel, the majority of Israel is out there loving Baal, man. Worshipping, setting up groves and altars onto him, all sorts. And then, so it says, then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord Yahweh had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, they could not do it by day, that he did it by night. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it. The second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, who have done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon the son of Joash have done this thing. Then the men of the city said unto Joash, bring out thy son that he may die, because he hath cast down the altar of Baal. So this is another thing that comes back time and again, a recurring occurrence as well. These wicked Israelites looking to put the prophets to death, man. And that's something where there's been times where the Lord's covered them, and there's times where they've been able to be put to death by those that have a contention against them, man. And these are things, and this is, it's nothing new. Because as far as that's how when these guys get cut, it says what the word of the Most High is like a sharp two-edged sword to the severing asunder of what of even the spirit. These guys are getting cut in the spirit. It's not there's a term used where it's called what cut to the heart of the mouth, or a cutting remark. The reason these terms exist is because why? There's power in words, especially when you're dealing with a word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's why the things that we bring out, people get cut, people get hurt. They're internally, spiritually, they're on their last legs, man. They're internally bleeding. That's why what? They'll get aggressive and be like, look, we're looking to put to death. So it says, because he hath cast down the altar of Baal, and because he hath cut down the grove that was by it. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, will you plead for Baal, will you save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death whilst it is yet morning. If he be a god, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar. So he's saying, but Baal's a god, then he should be able to defend himself. But what were they looking to do? They were looking to get carnal. They were looking to rip his throat out, man, and end his life. So what? Skip forward. Because I'll go to Matthew as well, because the biggest contention, the biggest what's the word? Not stumbling, but the biggest controversy in the scriptures is what? Yahushua. Yahushua is the great controversy, because as far as whether you have even to this day controversy surrounding Yahushua, whether it's how he looks, who he came for, what he was teaching. All these things are still what? Controversy. But there is truth to the matter. Well, okay. So I'll start on Matthew 10 and 16. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. There were sheep in the midst of wolves. But why? That's been the spirit of James. It says what? Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets. When you go out there to Jake and you're prophesying, saying, hey look, you guys, everything ain't going to work out. I was going to read from Jeremiah. I kind of hit the point already, so I moved on. But then, even with Jeremiah, when he was prophesying, they'll had him hand up. They'll basically coming against him on all sides. I'm like, how's Israel going to fall? To some heathens. Like, how's that going to happen? Well, it's a matter of what? The word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and as well because of the covenant that was made. So it says what? But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils and will scourge you in in their synagogues. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. Yeah, so it's what is for the sake of Yahweh Shai. That's why we're doing it. It's not, it's like now, if you go into jail because I don't know, you're out there, getting into fisticuffs with some random guy on a drunk night out, then that's a completely different affair. But it's a matter of you're doing the work, you're out on the streets prophesying, whatever it is, and then you're getting hemmed up for that. Then what? That's something that it's the word's being proven true, and that's happened to brothers multiple times, where the cops have come, he's been teaching the word. Then they might just come over. Sometimes they'll have a chat. Sometimes the brother might get grabbed up, taken into jail. They might get a case, they might not. But that's how these things are worked out. So it says, but when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. Yeah, it's something where, as far as the defense, you're going to leave it to the Spirit. I'll skip down a few verses again. It says, verse 24, the disciple is not above his master, nor the serpent above his Lord. Yeah, it is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? So yeah, with Yahweh Shai, they will call him what? They say, oh, Yahweh Shai came in the spirit, but Beelzebub, they're saying, when it was with John and Yahweh Shai, it says, oh, lo, he comes eating and drinking, he has a devil. Then it was like, oh, he's not eating, he also has a devil. There was basically nothing they could do to please those guys, because all they were convicted in their spirit already to be against Yahweh Shai, to be against the spirit, basically. But then what? Same thing for us. When we're coming out here, we're teaching the same words, the same message. So we're gonna get the same response. It's gonna hit in the spirit. People are gonna get upset. They're gonna get roused up. They're gonna get riled up. And that's why it's not just your average Joe. But then what? As it said, you'll be brought before kings, kings and rulers. That's gonna happen too, just as it happened before. So that's essentially what should be expected. And then what? The example of how far it can go is in the scriptures. Acts 7 and 54 says what? When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. So these guys would have been losing their minds, foaming at the mouth. Because why? Because Stephen did an immaculate job. He did a legendary job. You read through the whole chapter. These guys are getting every layer of their existence peeled off, and they're getting a precision cut directly upon their spirits, man. These guys got annihilated. So it says what? But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, looked up steadfastly into heaven, and saw the glory of the Most High, Yahweh Shai, standing on the right hand of the Most High. He said, behold, I see heaven open, the Son of Man standing on the right hand of the Most High. Yeah, so he's given a vision. It said what? When they cried out with a loud voice, then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city, and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at a young man's feet, his name was Saul. So yeah, they straight took him out of the city and stoned him. And that's how far these guys are going to go. And once again, that's going to be the same spirit now, because now we're in the time of Acts again. Where what? We're going out, we're prophesying, we're teaching the word. We're being made a spectacle amongst the nations. So then what? As we're being made a spectacle, people are going to respond the same way as when Yahweh Shai was on the scene. And it will get to the level where it will be like this. Acts 12 and 1, it says, now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it please the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. So, Herod just killed James, and then did it what? Just he saw like, oh wow, these guys are getting happy off this. So I can make my rule easier just by taking out these Christians. And then with Peter, it says what? Then were the days of unleavened bread. It said, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to bring him, no, to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So they were looking to what? He was looking to what? To have Peter put to death as well, the same way he did with James. So that's, you know, that's the reality of how it is. Being a prophet is not something where, you know, you're going to get acclaim and fame. It's not going to be like what you see with these mega churches. A lot of these churches, only really in recent times have you had people criticizing them, because it's become evident that prosperity doctrine, the way these guys worship money, the fact that they're whatever they're teaching is completely off, and they're just, everything they're doing is obviously for money. These guys wear private jets. These guys will be out there, okay, bless me up for another jet. What, you know, they're pushing all that. That's completely misaligned with the scriptures. So now they're getting some, you know, some pushback. But really, it's against what the brothers that we teach. This message is something where, anytime it's been mentioned in the mainstream, it's been people coming against it, people trying to demonize, you know, trying to paint us with a certain brush. And that's only going to continue. Yeah. I'll leave it there. Shalom, y'all.